Traveler came from the water, bloated as a dead goat toting in his mouth Rono, who was slid to the shore by his leather jacket collar, the small pebbles making way for his heavy body. Traveler dropping him coughing harshly and nearly falling himself, gathering his paw up to his mane, taking a claw and puncturing the lion skin with it. A burst of water came from under the thick mane, with Traveler taking in a gasping breath as he slightly sway, landing to the earth, his eyes slowly regaining vision. Beside Rano, the Broncos came running down the cliffside as well as Abira, but the first one to them was Eleanor holding to Traveler as he laid on the shore coughing. "Mashy! Are you all right? Look at me." Her words frantic, she held the large lion's head in her lap until he came around. She was soaked in the muddy water pooling about him from the cut he made. He shook his head slightly, regaining his balance, still slightly coughing. I'm all right. Check on him." He nudged her, the others still not fully upon them. Eleanor looked to him, then looking to Traveler again. She slid over carefully, putting Traveler's head to the pebbles, trying to turn Rano over, but he was heavy himself with water. Traveler shook himself, finding some strength, taking his paw, helping turn him over. Eleanor drew near to his face, looking to his chest. "He's breathing. I think he will be okay. I think—" The Broncos came running up looking to the scene. "What is she doing here?" They whispered. Colt looked to them. "I had her watching, in case we were in need of assistance with a injury." It was true. She was one of few that really knew herbs, though they were not much help in these circumstances. But she also had one of the fastest horses. But to go for help, but only Colt knew of this, for he knew each of the herd as well as their horses. No one else had given her that chance at racing. And though Eleanor was older to Colt by some bit, she still respected him as stallion for this reason. Traveler roared out in irritation as Abira came forward. The roar was enough to bring Rano around. He was on his red hands as he turned, spewing out some vomited water and coughing about. Eleanor touched his shoulder. "You all right?" But he shrugged her off after a moment. He stood. The other Broncos looked to him as he looked to Traveler. Rano shook his head. "All in all, you bested me." With that he walked off, passing Colt and Abel bowing slightly. "My stallions." The other Broncos following behind him. Just then Traveler ran, plowing out the pebbles under his paws, making large trenches as he ran at the group, snarling, jumping, landing on Rano, whispering loudly in his ear, "Say it." Rano looked to him. "No." Traveler roared again, the others backing off as he glared into Rano's determined eyes. He put his large wet paw on Rano's chest, but hardly no weight was given. "I'll give you to the count of 5. Traveler pushing slightly, a claw came from its hidden chamber, slicing Rano's jacket. 1. "Say it." He dug slightly into the jacket. "No, just say it." "Rano." He could hear the other Broncos' voices, but Rano stayed firm. 2. He pushed him down more surely by 3, but no. Traveler growled in his throat as he pushed down, but he knew much more would break Rano's chest bone, killing him. The 3 claws ripping the last layer before his shirt, then his flesh. It was like a game of chicken at this point, who would turn from the other. First, both were set to be the winner. 4. The 4th claw came out. Rano's hand reacted by moving slightly on its own. He sucked in a breath as him to hold it for the next push. 4. Say it, and I'll let you go. No, Rano said calmly with his saved breath. The 5th claw was out. But before he could finish, Colt looked to him. "I am stallion by his own words." Traveler let him up. "He yields by my words." Traveler paused a minute, then leaned into Rano. "You will apologize to my lady, or your stallion will not stop me or find your pieces when I'm done." He let Rano up, looking to his jacket in shreds. Rano slightly bowed his head to the stallion and went to turn, but stopped. He looked over to Eleanor and slightly bowed his head. A sign not given to any mare, but those of highest ranking, as a sign of understanding, respect, and apology. The other Broncos didn't understand it all. They had only heard murmurs of the whisper between them. But just the same, Rano looked to them, and they followed him back toward the herd. Abira looked to Traveler. "You all right?" Traveler was clearing his throat. "Yes, your majesty, just a small puncture of the skin caused by my own claw. But are you all right? I smell your blood?" Abira seemed calm. "Yes, slipped on a sharp rock getting down here of all things. Best let me sew it up then." Traveler looked to Abira. Clearly he needed attention more badly than him. Kindly, your majesty, the last time you gave me a sewing, I looked rather unpleasant for the eyes. We should get you stitched up first. Abira smiled. Come now, it's but a puncture, truly. I think I can manage it back at the herd with a needle and thread for the both of us. Eleanor looked to him. If you forgive me, sir, regular thread will not hold long, and the needle should be one for leather, not cottons. Abira looked to the sopping wet girl. What are you saying, then? Eleanor looked to the king humbly. I could do it. For ma traveler, I have the tools with me. Abira calmly spoke. No, Eleanor didn't let it go. I tend to all the clothes mendings. I can make it as though it was never cut. Otherwise, it will keep reopening and make it worse, making it impossible to stay here longer. And I don't know much, but I know a open wound is not healthy and yours is bleeding badly. But I've never sewn a herd member before, so I don't feel comfortable doing yours. Colt spoke up. She is rather good at what she does. She's fine at her sewing, but she is right. We should take you to Firefly. She has done many sewings of the skin. Abira sighed. Traveler, let me look at your puncture first. Abira looked under the mane. The hole was no larger than 2 inches deep in the mane. Traveler, are you all right with this idea? Traveler looked to Abira. I have seen her works. I believe she could repair me easily enough. Abira looked to her again. Very well, and you shall be paid for your work, and I shall watch to be sure it is done properly. Eleanor looked to the king. If you forgive me for saying so, I do my best work when I'm not watched. I don't need payment. I just want to help in ways I can. Colt spoke again. Come, Abira. We should get back to the herd. They will be wanting to know the outcome, and we need to have your cut looked at as well. It looks rather deep. Abira seemed irritated, but calmed his words. I'm fine. All right, then, but do not do more than needs done. Don't be curious, understand? Eleanor nodded in a whisper. Yes, sir, I would never do anything to hurt him. Abira looked to Traveler. Traveler, for your safety, if she goes beyond what is needed, bite her hand off. Colt turned to Abira. Threats are not warranted here. But Abira looked to him. One wrong move can kill what is left of him. I won't take the chance. Curiosity kills the cat has great meaning in our kingdom. Traveler, you heard my order. Traveler looked to them. Yes, your majesty, as you speak it, it shall be. Eleanor looked rather afraid, but it didn't waver her from starting to pull out the scissors, thread and needle, as Abira was taken by Colt back to the underground to Firefly. Eleanor let out a sigh as Traveler stood still, letting the rest of the muddy water dribble from his wound, if it could be called that. Eleanor called him over to a rock where she placed out everything on a cloth. Traveler looked to it. All the thread was thick and white. Traveler watched her bring out many items from her pack, as well as small bottles. Do you always carry around so much? Eleanor looked to her items. Usually? No. Traveler watched her skillfully thread the needle with her sore webbed fingers. Do you always carry with you white thread? I wouldn't think there would be much use for that color here. She kept calm. Lately, yes, especially when I'm worried I will need it. Traveler slightly unsure what to say. She seemed off, almost irritated. I am sorry for your clothes becoming soaked in all this. Forgive me, my lady, I only try to bring out a conversation. You do not have to fear. I would never bite from you your hands. Eleanor looked to him as she neared him, sitting to the ground ready to sew. I know. You do? Then why are you so silent? Eleanor breathed out hard. Because I was worried I lost you, Mashie. Traveler looked down to her. He could only see the top of her frizzled, dirty blonde hair that was filled with her aroma. You don't have to worry on all that I told you. No one can bring me down so easily here. Hold still, so I can sew you up properly. Traveler straightened himself, but then slightly slumped as Eleanor felt him move this way. She looked to his mane as she spoke. Mashie? Are you all right? He thought, a deep moment as she regained control to place in the needle to the skin. Wait, Traveler said with a pause. All was silent for a minute. I would just for a moment, if you wished it, you could. Mashie, she said in a whisper as he spoke again. Slowly, I never have done this before. We must be careful. She swallowed hard. Was he asking what she thought he was? Do you want me to? Traveler held perfectly still. Perhaps if we go slow, it will be all right. She held her breath as she reached into the mane. It was wet, but so soft she came to where her fingers were touching the edge of his skin. You will tell me if it hurts and I'll stop, all right? Traveler still holding perfectly still. Please, before my fear finds me. She slowly opened the hole slightly. The wet skin enveloped her fingers into the darkness. You're warm, Mashie. It's metal, but it's warm. She whispered. It's like a metal chest bone. She slowly placed her whole hand in, not even to the wrist, as Mashie held his breathing, but he was slightly shaking. What else? Eleanor smiled softly. Mashie, I feel on the metal your heart pounding wildly. Mashie, you have your heart. Shall I go deeper? I do? He questioned. Eleanor smiled. Was there, after any doubt, she whispered to him. Traveler was about to speak, when a twig snapped, making her and Traveler jolt away from one another. Traveler listened a moment as she sat still. It's just a pink owl landing. I think it best we stop before we have gone too far. If I am but a container of internals, at least I know I still have a heart in this old bucket of mine covered in fur. Eleanor picked up the needle again, as this time she started to sew it shut for a while in silence. You know, I don't think of you as a container of any sort. When Traveler held still to her sewing, yes, I know, my lady, and I see you as you are, my lady, and I hope you know this. I know. He let her finish as she cut the thread with her scissors as he slightly chuckled. What? He slightly purred in his words. He never did touch me, you know, and I suppose you find that funny. Yes, I do. Eleanor punched his shoulder slightly. What am I going to do with you and your ways? Traveler looked to her. Perhaps dry me off. I'm still rather moist. I don't want to mold. Eleanor looked to him. Are you asking me to ride or towel you off? Traveler smiled. If my heart is beating fast, let's see how fast we can make it. Eleanor climbed up on him. All right then, my Mashie, let's run the fields till we are dry and our hearts bursting. With that, he was off through the tree, jumping logs, dodging branches that would have touched her. He plowed down as his paws hit the meadow, running past the spooked horses into the darkness of the night. Traveler himself hadn't realized how far he had actually strayed from the herd, for he had no tired in him, just the feeling of weightlessness. He could have ran himself to the kingdom without losing a breath. The way he felt at the moment he looked to Eleanor on his back, he could see her hand on his side, lightly touching him, her legs tight to his back. He slowed to a trot, getting his bearings, but oh, how he wished he could just keep running. Eleanor looked about herself. You're faster than before. I think last time we raced you were holding back. Traveler, still looking about, looked to her. I was never in this feeling. I was weighed down before, but now I feel I could race the stars and win. Eleanor jumped down. You know, I think you could. This place I haven't been this far out in this direction. Traveler turned to see her properly. I seem to have taken us a ways from the herd. I am sorry, my lady. Eleanor smiled as she sat down, then laying herself on the ground in the short, soft blue grass. The grass here is soft, and the air doesn't smell of horses. Traveler towered over her, watching her. I suppose I can still smell the horses, but you are right. This place, it smells of a cleanness. Traveler went beside her, laying himself down, turning himself over onto his back, his paws resting in the air as he let out a sigh. It was not a normal way of a lion to lay. Eleanor turned her head to see him a moment as his large head turned to her, but then he went back to see the night stars and clouds. I haven't seen the stars this way since I was a man. I remember my brother and I would go to the kingdom's roof, climbing up to the top. It was hard and cold. It was a spot that no one could see us. We knew it was dangerous, but we still did it. We had many talks there. We were close as boys. Eleanor looked to the stars. It is rather a warm night, and the sky so clear, the clouds are so vibrant, it's as though I could reach up and touch them. She lifted her hand, then pretending to catch a star, she looked to her hand still empty, her face almost disappointed. Traveler chuckled seeing this. I ate that one. Eleanor smiled. Well, you know, if you eat a star, you get its wish. Traveler looked to her. Who says this? Eleanor smiled, looking to the stars. Me, I just said it, so it must be true. Traveler smiled to himself. A new tale of stars. Well, then I should make a wish then. Eleanor sat up quickly, putting her finger to his large mouth, nearly falling on his chest, regaining her balance. Shh! If you want it to come true, then don't say it out loud. Traveler's eyes were looking deep into hers. He shook himself from his thoughts, turning to his side. as she sat herself back down on the grass as he sat himself up, sitting next to her. "Will you not eat a star and make a wish as well?" She smiled. "I don't need to catch a wish tonight." Traveler laid himself around her. "Here, lean back on me, you're still slightly wet. I don't want you getting sick. I'm not much but metal, but the fur, it's warm." She slid back into his side as he curled around her. "That's better, isn't it?" he whispered. Eleanor nodded, curling herself to match his curves as they both looked to the stars again. "Mashy," she slightly yawned. "Yes?" He looked to her. What was your wish?" She closed her eyes, snuggling into him. "I can't tell you, or it won't come true, so it is known." He chuckled softly. Her head slightly fell to the side as she was already almost asleep. He nudged her head with his nose, placing her head in a better position, her hands clinging to his soft fur. "You can tell me. I made it up after all." She managed to get out before falling asleep completely. Traveler looked to the stars in a prayer, just once. "Greatest One, just once tell me why. Why am I like this? I will not question it after, but why? You made me born a man, only to not—" Traveler let out a sigh, looking to Eleanor just a moment back. "Please, Greatest One, please do not allow me to rip this dear lady from life. Give me the continuing will to hold back my urges. Give me a mouth to keep my thoughts to myself. Give me the thoughts of purity. I pray to soften my brother's heart to have wisdom I seek. I know it has been some time since prayers for I, but till now I did not think of myself as worthy to pray unto you, my greatest one, your will be done." The night was silent as Traveler put his head down. "I wish for an answered prayer," he whispered to himself, putting his nose to the ground, slightly touching her face to his, and for the first time he truly went into a sleep himself.
Once a man, now fur and shadow, eyes of blue, a secret untold. Heart heavy, but the night feels bold. Under the waterfall, stars collide, words unspoken, but hearts can't hide. In her gaze I see the man I wish to be. My hazel eyes, love undefined. She whispers soft, the breeze replies. Moonlight dances where truth lies. I roar inside, but his lips are still. How do you speak past the whippoorwills? Water sings, wants to be a king. The night holds its breath. Will I speak or leave it unsaid? Under the waterfall, stars collide, words unspoken, but hearts can't hide. In her gaze I see the man I wish to be. My hazel eyes, love undefined. The water sings, wants to be a king. The night holds its breath. Will I speak or leave it unsaid? Under the waterfall, stars collide, words unspoken, but hearts can't hide. In her gaze I see the man I wish to be. My hazel eyes, love undefined. Your scent of honey rose, my love secretly grows. If I tell you, will you stay? Or will the tide take you away? If you knew, would you fear? Or hold me close, keep me near? I'd take you away if you knew what you fear. Or hold me close, keep me near.
Oh, simple touch, I tried to lose it. I saw the patch, but not the hurt. How can a pearl stay in the dirt? His breath so still, I feel the warmth. His blue eyes glow softly, outshining the stars. I hide my love in trembling hands and heart. A white line he can only see. I only see a man in a white coat, wishing to be free. Why can't he see? Why can't he be the man in my dreams? Why can't I be the woman I wish to be? Mashi, mashi, a waterfall roars under moonlight. Magical love I keep in my chest. Mashi, mashi, I can never confess. I own but a twisted body in a dress. Stars hang like secrets stitched in my sky. On a blanket I make to cover you, I watch the moments flame and die. The world gets spin around and round so fast-paced. My eyes locked on the shadow of your face. Why can't I tell? Why can't it be what can be beyond my dreams? Mashi, mashi, I see you this night. A waterfall roars under moonlight. Mashi, why can't you see the man I see? The man under the white coat, wanting to be free, with eyes as blue as the sea. Mashi, mashi, why can't confess what can be beyond my dreams and my twisted body in a dress? Mashi, mashi, I see you this night. A waterfall roars under moonlight. Mashi, why can't you see the man I see? The man under the white coat, wanting to be free, with eyes as blue as the sea. Mashi, mashi, I can't confess. You deserve so much more than my twisted body in a dress.
Eleanor rose up in the morning slowly stirring, which woke Traveler, who tickled her nose with the bush of his tail as she grabbed it with her hand. "Good morning," she smiled. Traveler smiled to her. "Good morning, my dear lady. Sleep well?" "Yes, you make a fine pillow. I hope you will not be in trouble with your brother. Over this." "Do not think of it. I sleep where I wish to sleep. It was nice not to be alone. His Majesty is a rather loud sleeper, and his scent is not nearly as nice as yours. But will you not be in troubles yourself?" Eleanor pulled her hair back as she sat. "No, I don't have any great need from others. I am but a pair of hands for small tasks of little importance." Traveler looked to her as she stood. "We should get back, though. I don't want to cause you any griefs." Traveler stood with a stretch as she climbed up on his back as he shook his mane. He followed the scents close to the herd as Eleanor patted him. "Let me off here." "Why?" Traveler asked. "Because I will bring you trouble if he sees me on you." Traveler stopped letting her down. She wasn't wrong, nor would he argue on it, for it was rare an allowance would be made to ride one's lion, but especially that of a king. But truly she would find the king's anger so they went separate ways back to the herd.